But interestingly, in 2021, HSBC published its own net zero timeline and demanded clients, quote, publish transition plans that are compatible with HSBC's net zero by 2050 target, unquote. Now that's a bit didactic, isn't it? I mean, how do you tell your clients that you have to conform to this environmental rubbish? Is it go work, go broke in this instance, Alexandra?
The clients should tell the bank that they'll do that and fill out these stupid forms when all of the executives at the bank promise to stop flying around the world in their private jets and driving all the lovely cars they like and living in mansions. Because why should the customers do anything if the bank executives don't believe a word of what they're putting in print? Because all we're doing, this climate saga, is literally expanding the gap between the super wealthy and everybody else. And so much of this close the gap scenario, that's exactly the opposite to what is happening here. But what's interesting, Fred, is when I spoke about PayPal before, I think I cautioned on your program last time that we're seeing ideology being allowed in banking institutions online because the rules are a bit fast and loose. Well, companies like PayPal were the catalyst to influence people like HSBC to now play politics with your money in real banks because nobody stopped anybody online doing it. And so because we didn't stop PayPal, we've now got HSBC and other banks. I mean, my Commonwealth Bank, it's sending me carbon footprints and tracking stuff, and I don't want to know. It's none of their business. Stop looking at my purchases. It's, they shouldn't be stalking their customers and making value judgments on what they purchase. That is scary stuff.
Well, just to put a more optimistic spin on it, that condition that HSBC published in 2021, the transgressions that HSBC have made since then would indicate to me that, in fact, it is difficult to maintain these lines. That if you want to stay profitable, then you simply can't kowtow to all this environmental rubbish. Is that a positive way of looking at it?
Well, there won't be a choice. These companies and these banks will have no option because, as we've seen in Europe, when there is a genuine energy crisis, and we have to remember the climate cult is like a religion, but the energy system that underpins it is an engineering reality. So as we realize that renewables do not uphold an energy grid, well, then we have to go back to fossil fuels and nuclear energy. There's no choice. And so the banks will no longer be able to woke virtue signal because people don't want to have no power and no money and no businesses, and they will leave people who start promoting it. And you'll see, you watch it, right? You'll see in the banks, they'll be like, oh, nuclear power is now the most virtuous energy you've ever seen. Bank with us and we'll invest everything in nuclear power. That'll be their line in a year or two because it's the only way forward that Europe has out of this mess they're in. So everyone's going to have to shift because of reality. And it just exposes the idea this climate cult has been nothing but a marketing experiment for some billionaires to profit off their share portfolios. It has had nothing to do with saving the planet. And you're right, it is go woke, go broke.
Yeah.